I really had to work through that limiting belief of the employee mindset. Where am I going to get this money? And how am I going to take this risk?
It just takes time. But if you truly have it in you, it won't go away. That dream is inside you, waiting for you to water it.
Oof, I got goosebumps. That was really good, actually. I love it. Welcome to Rise plus Rebel. Today, I'm sitting down with Jeff Pareja, a senior commercial banking executive with over 20 years of experience helping businesses access the capital they need to grow, expand, and move forward with confidence. From SBA lending to owner-occupied commercial real estate and strategic financing, Jeff brings a wealth of knowledge, leadership, and real-world insight to the table. I'm super excited for this conversation because I know it's bring both practical value and a deeper look at what it really takes to build and support strong businesses and communities. This conversation is educational and informational only. We're exploring perspectives and experiences, not offering financial or lending advice. So let's dive in. This is Rise plus Rebel, a podcast for people who refuse to abandon themselves to fit this world. Here, we talk about solitude, authentic truth, power, money, creativity, and the quiet action that changes everything. This season is about reclaiming what was never meant to be outsourced. Your voice, your intuition, your timing, your authority. I'm Hoja, commercial real estate advisor and the founder of Rise plus Rebel, and your host. If you're navigating the journey of life, especially when it feels lonely, uncomfortable, or misunderstood, well then, you're in the right place. Let's begin. Welcome, Jeff. Thank you so much for being on Rise plus Rebel. How are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having me today, and it's good to see you again.
Yes, it's great to see you too, Jeff. So I know we kind of touched on this already, but I just wanted to, if you could give our listeners from your perspective of who you are and what your story is before we really dive into the questions.
Sure. So I have been in the financial sector for a good 20 years. At the end of the day, it's really about helping the clients meet their needs. So a lot of times they may know what they want, sometimes they don't. So what I try to do is help them in structuring their debt. But with all the years of experience, I try to really guide the client into a certain direction that's ultimately going to achieve their end goal.
I love it. So from your experience, what mindset shifts do successful business owners go through when they move from employee thinking into owner or investor thinking?
That's a good question. You know, when you make that shift as an employee, you're really worried about the stability of your paycheck. Is my paycheck reliable? Is it safe? So it really boils down to, as an employee, you're more focused in on the security factor than as a business owner. As a business owner, now you have to shift your mindset of, is the risk worth taking, and what's the return for taking such a risk? As an employee, you're focusing on family stability and bringing in that paycheck, whereas on the ownership side, you're not only focusing on that, but you're also worried about and focused in on the impact of your employees, the impact on the community, the impact that you're going to have with your vendors. So it really goes beyond just family and your immediate concerns and rewards. Because as an employee, you're more focused in on my salary. When was the last time I got paid? My bonuses, vacation. On the ownership side, you really have to change your mindset and make it more about the asset being the business, the asset being your long-term strategic growth plans. And so it's really not that easy when you first make that initial switch, because you are geared and programmed to, how do I get this done? Versus now your mindset is not only getting it done, but how do I get this done? And basically, how do I structure this so that it can get done without me having to be there, and maybe somebody else can do that and get that accomplished. So it's more of setting up a strategic plan to get things done.
Yeah, it's setting yourself up for success. I love what you said because I don't know about you, but for me, I've had to shift that mindset because when I first joined the business force, I have a background in business, I got a business degree. I was still functioning from the employee mindset. And then I feel like I was somewhat forced, but really embarked my entrepreneurial journey. I really had to work through that limiting belief of the employee mindset, which was all about that safety and making sure, like, where am I going to get this money? And how am I going to take this risk? So I love that you said that. Without getting into specific advice, how do you help people understand that financing is just one tool within a larger business strategy?
Yes, so I think we tend to have the mindset of financing is the end game. In reality, it's really not. It's a tool. And so what I try to highlight is when you come towards me or another lender, a commercial lender, people in my position would need to really ask, what's your goal here? Are you trying to buy a business? Is it an expansion? So ultimately, what is your goal? Because the financing is just a tool, but you have to make sure that that tool is going to not only achieve your goal, but also give you a positive return. So it could be used for a lot of different things, but ultimately, like any good tool, you have to make sure that you use it properly to give you the returns that you want. Otherwise, you're just going to continue on or enhance a bad strategy. So I think it's important to know that it's not the end game to achieve that goal, to say you got a financing, but what is it achieving for you? Is it going to ultimately give you that financial reward in the sense of the business long-term goals and strategy that you have in place?
And I love that you said that it's a tool because I think, at least for me on my end, when I'm interacting with clients, especially the ones who are just going into like the leasing aspect of commercial real estate, I just had them meeting with a client last week where they were saying like, oh, is it similar to how you buy a house? And I'm like, yes and no, because let's say if in residential you take out a loan, you're not seeing your mortgage as a tool, right? Like, whereas with business or commercial real estate, it really is a tool. And I think when we sat down and talked about the different types of tools that you offer, the two that you mentioned was the SBA as well as equipment loans. And I think those two really act like a tool or a resource of those tools to really amplify your vision and your strategic plan.
Exactly. And just to add to that, it's some of the things that you want to really concentrate on is the financing aspect. It also, you want to overcome some of the constraints, which is time, access to capital, and the competitiveness. So by achieving the goal of having the financing, is it doing that? So like you pointed out, equipment financing. So by a business owner acquiring a piece of equipment, let's just use a round figure. Let's say it's $500,000. Okay, so you may finance that. So now, if you do acquire this piece of equipment, how soon are you going to get a positive return? And is that going to elevate you to the next level and beat out your competitors? So again, there's so many more factors that you look into. Yes, it's a piece of equipment, but ultimately it's a part of your long-term strategy for the business and keeping you competitive. So
yeah. It's a
powerful.
It's a strategy game. That's the business, and that's the fun part I think about business. Jeff, do you notice emotional or psychological patterns in entrepreneurs who are truly ready for growth versus those who may be rushing into expansion?
I do. I have noticed that for some, it's easy to obtain financing. For others, it's a little bit more difficult. Ultimately, I don't think it's based on the level of experience or the intelligence level. It's more that it's guided by the focus that you have and how to implement that in your overall strategy.
Emotional, psychological patterns who are truly ready for growth.
So emotionally, if you have the financing, but you don't have the emotional stability to handle that, you're compounding a positive into a negative. So yes, you can obtain financing, but if you don't have the emotional strength to back that up, then you're kind of leaning towards the direction of failure. So you have to have the financing with the emotional backing. And I'll give you an example. If you do have the finance, and you might have $1 million, so you're $500,000, whatever the dollar amount is. But if you don't have the ability to make decisions without having the complete picture of the foresight of everything that's going on based on your competitors. Here's another example. Emotional strength comes with knowing that you're going to be holding yourself accountable for whatever comes up. Knowing that you're not only accountable for yourself, but you're also accountable for your staff, for your vendors, for the community. Yeah. All of these things are factors that are really part of the emotional part, because when a storm comes, and you're the only one that you have to answer to, but you also have to answer to the people that report to you. So emotional strength is super critical. And again, the financing part of it is a tool, and that comes into place, but you have to have that emotional strength. And there's going to be days where, it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's continual. And the guarantees of, you have vacation time coming. No, not as a business owner. You may or may not. But at the end of the day, these are some of the strengths that you have to pull out. And, that's part of the emotional stability that you have to move forward.
Yeah. I mean, you touched on such great points. And it's interesting because as a commercial real estate advisor, I do stumble upon, not always, but I have in my career, where that emotional and psychological aspect of a business owner and entrepreneur really showed and impacted their business. And it was really sad to see that, where they had to shut the doors down. And I think what's really valuable in the financial realm, and I'm talking about you specifically, like the lenders are almost like the buffer, because we, as advisors, we stumble upon some excited entrepreneurs, small business owners who are like, I'm ready to go and start this new business venture. And then the financial advisors come in and they're like, let's look at your plan. Let's actually bring you back to the grounding aspect of it and literally see the reality of it. Because if you're not emotionally and psychologically ready or stable, and you can weather the storms, as you mentioned, it really could impact your business and your career. And not only that, but it is really truly impacting everybody else around you, because you are the leader in your industry. So yeah, I love that you mentioned that. And for me, like I mentioned, many entrepreneurs do feel that excitement, as maybe a little bit of fear as well, around borrowing or scaling. How do you see healthy risk taking versus reactive decision making?
And you just pointed out fear, and I think we both have seen the individual that comes up. They're super excited. It's exciting to know that you're going to venture out into this new business world, the entrepreneurship. But part of the fear is, when we talk to clients, it's seeing the excitement, but also having that level of maturity, knowing that, okay, well, I'm excited, but at the same time, I'm also going to remain level-headed, knowing that the way that I have to think about this has to be in a particular format, knowing that as I'm concentrating on this business plan or about to execute this, I might feel that fear. But is that fear substantiated by the concern for growth, or is it something else that you might be encountering that isn't balanced properly? So fear is good because it makes you question what's going on, what's happening, and makes you think and react. Yeah. But if you are emotionally stable, then it's very calming. You just remain calm through the entire process. But if fear comes in and tying it back to the emotional part, and you're unstable, well, that fear is going to overcome you, and you're not going to make rational decisions that you need to make on a daily basis, because it is a daily basis. In most businesses, I've run into this too, where the clients are like, we're fine, we're not going to change anything. We've been doing this business for 10 years and it's going to stay the way it is. Well, stagnation is erosion, because you're going backwards. All your competitors are not going to stand still. They're going to find ways to improve, innovate. You also have vendors with cost factors. So you have to constantly be monitoring all of these things, because they take effect and they affect your business. So any business that remains stagnant is actually showing signs of erosion, because everybody else is moving forward. So you have emotion, you have fear, And fear is good because fear has you questioning what's ahead. And as long as you know, you can move forward confidently instead of letting that fear overtake you and destroy your plans.
I love that. I think you are one of the first in my life, for sure, who has honored fear in a positive way. Like, fear is really good. It's kind of like your guiding light to question and to unpack. That's actually very insightful, Jeff. Thank you. And that's so interesting because, yeah, like, even when I was first embarking this podcast journey, I was like, I have this fear. I was like, all right, let's address this fear. Like, what is it exactly? Is it really just because I can't or because I just don't know? And there's that difference. If you don't know, learn. And so, yeah, reach out to advisors like Jeff. If this is your first time borrowing, reach out to someone like Jeff who can really answer and help you alleviate those fears. Thank you.
Thank you. And I try to let my prospects know that we can look at it differently. At the end of the day, we are all one big community. And so what goes around comes around. So you might approach me and say, Jeff, I'm thinking about this. I have no heartburn in providing you with my recommendations and what I feel might be beneficial to you based on my experience. And so you can reach out to me and you're not obligated to obtain one of my products or services. You can call me up and say, Jeff, what do you think about this? This is what I'm thinking. And I can honestly give you some feedback with no obligation of purchasing anything that I have to offer. So, but at the same time, what goes around comes around. So I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried about growing, establishing relationships, because in the long run, it'll all work out for everybody.
I think that's the best way to do business is when you do it from the heart. I know business is a sport, but you can still, at least for me, and I think that's why you and I just connected so well, is because we have a very similar mission in that if you function from a place of the heart, it does come back to you. So karma.
Exactly. Very true.
So when somebody approaches growth from a grounded or aligned place, whether, they call it intuition, maybe purpose, maybe vision, does that change how they approach financing conversations?
I think it does because, like you mentioned, your intuition, it could be your faith, it could be just a gut feeling. But at the end of the day, when you have a sound, solid feeling, you're going to make some right decisions. When you're impulsive, you're just going to make decisions and you don't even know where you're going to end up. But when you're guided by that inner feeling, that intuition, that your faith-based, whatever it is that's guiding you, it's a guiding light that's leading you. Therefore, in a sense, it's really, truly the right direction for you to take because there is something that's guiding you and you feel it. And when you feel that, you know you're on the right path. But if you're just flying by the seat of your pants, that's a different story. But that's what I think I've seen it in quite a few clients where I see their reaction from inquiring about a product or service to also reflecting the stability, the calmness that they reflect outwardly to others, me being one of them, because I'm listening to them and I see that they're asking questions. They're completely stable and they're confident in what they're thinking and how they're thinking and asking the right questions. So I think all that is truly important and it makes a difference and it does truly shine from the inside out. So
I love that.
It's a guiding light for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much for that affirmation and confirmation because I think I definitely have personal experience where in my earlier years when I was just embarking down the entrepreneurial journey, I was like, oh, I want to do all this. I want to do this and this and this. And that emotional aspect, as soon as something didn't work out, it impacted me. And so I had to really grow into that leadership role of like, okay, follow that light, follow your intuition, stay grounded, like don't let any of this, the no's that we always often get from clients or prospects, don't let that impact you because you're going to get those no's all the time. Are you grounded in your vision? And that's all that matters. As long as you're grounded with your vision, everything else usually magically, divinely works out. But you just have to be truly honest with yourself and follow your gut feeling. So thank you for sharing.
No, you're welcome. It's really similar to almost like a lighthouse. I don't want to, I use analogies a lot. And so it's kind of like a lighthouse. The lighthouse is solid, it's strong, it's firm, it's not going to go anywhere. and the waves keep crashing to it every day, in and out. But the lighthouse is solid and it's firm. And so no matter what happens externally, you know deep inside, wherever that comes from your intuition or faith, it's there. And you have to have that and be strong to move forward, to withstand all that stuff. Otherwise, you're just like sand washing in and out, depending on what comes around.
Oof, I got goosebumps. That was really good, actually. I love it. Please don't ever change that. I love these. I forgot what did you call them?
The
Just speak it.
analogies.
Yes, those are great. Please continue. Those are really great. And yeah. All right. I have another question for you. If you could remove one fear or misconception people carry about money or growth, what would you want them to release today?
Everything is possible with the determination and the ability to not give up on yourself, because I think that that's the most critical part. We tend to shoot down any kind of positive ideas that we come up with. We find a million reasons why not to move forward. But then at the end of the day, you might say, I can't do this. But remove those obstacles, because if you have it in your heart and it's that feeling that just keeps coming back to you, that's telling you something. Your own body is telling you to move forward with this idea. Yes, it's not going to be easy. You have individuals out there that have been working on a business plan for 6 months, a year, 2 years. It just takes time. But if you truly have it in you, it won't go away. That dream is inside you, waiting for you to water it and continue to have it blossom for you. Because financing, okay, well, what if you reached out to an investor, a partner? What if you don't have the money? There are other ways. SBA is one of those that provides you with the most minimal equity injection you need to obtain a business, acquire a new business, real estate. All of those are tools that through the SBA can help you achieve your dreams. Like I mentioned, you can have a partner. If you're very skilled in one area, but that's truly not your dream, well, you might be able to talk to someone, me included, and say, well, you know what? I'm really good at this. I could actually buy this business and have it produce. And ultimately, in a matter of time, I could actually invest into my true dream, my true passion. But because I've been doing this particular skill for 20 years, I could do it in my sleep. Okay, well, if acquiring that business will help you achieve your goals in expansion, then so be it. But there's ways of talking to somebody, reaching out and getting ideas that can help you water your dreams and ultimately achieve your goals. I think everything is possible. It's not easy, takes time, but reach out. There's a lot of resources out there. But getting started is the hardest part. Removing the negativity, the denial, the I can't do this, I can't do that. You have to put that aside, because if you're shooting yourself right now in the foot, it's going to only impact you more so when you start having that business and market conditions change and you can't weather the storm. So overcome those obstacles now so that you can be solid and have a solid foundation in the future. It's going to help you.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Jeff. What would you require from a prospective client who is reaching out to you and they have this brilliant idea and they're now saying, hey, Jeff, I need X amount of money for this idea. What are your requirements or prerequisites that you would need from that person so that we're not just sending them blindly and blowing up your phone?
Right. That's a great question. And a lot of times you'll find that individuals have worked their entire lives. So they have 20 plus years in a particular field, and now they have time on their hands. So, or somebody that just has that dream, then I would first have them develop a business plan. That business plan is going to really take time to generate, because you have to really look at your competitors, see what the market is really telling you. So there's a lot of research that's going to go into it, but ultimately the business plan is a good place to start because it sets the roadmap. At the end of the day, you have to know the path that you're going, and the path is a business plan. And then once you have the business plan, what are your resources? What are your contacts? I'll give you an example. If I was a veteran, I am a veteran, but if I was retired, I'm a veteran, and I had an idea. Well, I might reach out to 20 different contractors and have letters of intent saying that they want to do business with me. And then now attach that to my business plan. And then, so now I have potential clients. And as far as equipment, and so now the business plan is starting to really take shape. So you're molding that. You have clients lined up. You might have a business partner lined up. And so now you have some equity injection. You have a partner. You're not doing it solo. So these are some of the ideas that I would first bring up to anybody that has an idea. First, let's get a solid business plan going. Then let's see who your clients could be, and then start moving in that right direction. And if liquidity is an issue, then let's address that. But reach out to any commercial lender. They'll be glad to work with you, sit down with you, really find out who your clients are, what your business model is, and they can actually provide you with additional information to help you. And I will give a shout out to yours. You have other organizations out there. SCORE is one of them. There's many more. SBA has a lot of resources online as well. You can reach out to them. But there's plenty of resources, and there's plenty of help out there to help you develop a solid business plan to move forward.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Could you share how can my listeners, if they were interested in having a one-on-one with you, how would they be able to contact you?
So I can be reached at Midwest Regional Bank. You could also reach me at JPAREJA at mwregionalbank.com. Or you can call me directly at 512-966-9285. And I'll be more than glad to at least point you in the right direction, or maybe point you to different resources that might be able to help you.
Jeff, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us and your experience. Is there anything else you would love to share before we say our goodbyes?
Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate the time. And as far as anybody else out there, if you do have that dream, I can't highlight enough that it is possible. And at the worst case, even if you did develop a business plan, and it may not be something that's going to work right now, it might lead you down the path that you didn't even think about, that might create and open doors for you in other ways. So I always say, get started, see what you can come up with, and there's plenty of resources out there willing to help you.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Jeff. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
If something in this episode landed, stayed with you, or stirred something honest inside, please let me know. You can find me at www.risewithaya.com. That's where everything lives, the podcast, my writings, and ways to connect. So I'd love for you to follow me on social media and tell me what you want more of. That can be topics, questions, or conversations you're craving. Rise plus Rebel isn't just a podcast. It's a community built around truth, presence, and becoming your authentic self. So until then, don't rush your journey. Honor every moment of it.